So good people of the internet, welcome to another video in the 40 Servants video course series. I'm Tommy Kelly and we are still out here in Richardstown as we were in the last video. Again, because it kind of has a magical feel to me and it seems appropriate. Now in this video I want to talk a bit about why magic works, or why people think it works, or the kind of modes of magic or systems of magic or the models of magic in that people work within. So you have a number of these, but I'm going to talk about four that seem to me to be the most popular or the most talked about. So the very first model of magic I want to talk about is the energy model. And what this means is basically that there is some sort of life force in the universe, and it's been called vril, it's been called chi, it's been called, it's like that thing in Reiki, it's the etheric. Stuart Wilde talks a lot about the etheric, and he got that from theosophy from a large extent. So this kind of energy that is around the universe that the magician can capture or move where, in the direction to get the things he wants. So like think of it in like an energy healing, where you're directing the energy of the universe into someone's body to healing. Only instead of for healing, you're using this energy to, get a better job, or, increase your wealth, or, getting more loving relationships, so whatever it is that you're working on. So the energy model would be that there is a kind of a force, like the Star Wars, the Jedi, the force, that thing that you can tap into as a magician and direct in ways that you desire. So the next model of magic would be the spirit model, or theurgy, whatever way that's actually pronounced. I've mostly just read that word. And this would be the idea that we live in a haunted universe, that we're surrounded by spirits who are in some way can see the world from a different perspective than we can and have influence on this world, so that the magician would then go and try to talk to these spirits, whether they be called angels, demons, or whatever, jinn, even your ancestors, whatever, and you would compel them in some way through a ritual, or just asking them to do stuff for you, to get stuff done for you. Will you please make sure that this happens, and then the demon does it and gets something in return. And people work with like their ancestors through this. They work through the saints. So like an awful lot of Christian magic, mostly Catholic magic, would be through the saints and stuff, that you would work they would work as an intercession, either to get you the things you want, or to get your prayers or your wishes heard by God or Jesus or whoever it is that you're working with within that paradigm. So then the next model we want to talk about, which is probably where chaos magic fits in the best, although chaos magic can encompass whatever kind of model it wants, and that would be the psychological model, where this is all in your head. All of this is in your head, and that's not to say this is kind of dismissing it, or it's a lesser thing. It's more elevating how powerful your subconscious is, your mind is, visualization, and all that kind of stuff to getting in you want, so that you're not forcing an energy into a thing. You're not asking help from spirits from above. You're changing your beliefs, your ideas, your inner world, and that is then reflected on the outer world. And chaos magic would come in under this because it has this whole thing of belief as a tool, where you would generate beliefs, or basically believe things that you would need to believe to get the things you want. And then if tomorrow you need to believe other things, you do that. And it's not just kind of willy-nilly believe. You have to genuinely actually change your belief patterns about these things. So it's rather than belief as something that it's true or it's not. It's you take reins of your belief and you decide that this is, well, I'm going to believe this because it gets me more of what I want and less of what I don't want. So the psychological model would all be range from people who totally don't believe in any woo-woo supernatural stuff or any of that thing at all, to people who do believe all that but still believe that it's all to do with the person itself, your inner head, your thoughts, your thing. In a sense, the law of attraction stuff kind of would fall in here, in that you're visualizing, you're thinking things, you're putting stuff out there, but it still touches on an energy model, and it still touches on a spirit model in a kind of a thing as well. So it wouldn't be totally a psychological model. Whereas say NLP would be closer to like a psychological model of magic. NLP is neuro linguistic programming, and Tony Robbins will be very well known for using some of it, Richard Bandler, and a host of other people, Paul McKenna, that hypnotist guy. So yeah, so that's psychological. It's just your mind, your thing, not necessarily any woo-woo, possibly include woo-woo if you want. The final model I want to talk to, and I don't really have a name for it, but it's kind of the meditative model, or the introspection, or the wisdom model, in a sense of that you go and you meditate for years and you gain insight into how the universe is or isn't, whatever, like maybe it is the great void or whatever. And by doing this, you develop a thing called siddhis. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, only read the word. And these are the spiritual powers. And these are first kind of put together by a guy called Patanjali, and it's the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I used to call him Patanjali because, again, loads of times I just read words that I've never heard anyone pronounce them. And he talks about the different powers or the different magic that you can develop by doing things like mindfulness or yoga or Raja Yoga or the introspection, and if you go down that kind of thing. He says to ignore them and just, they're just kind of a byproduct. Don't get caught up in them. Don't think you're wonderful or don't think you're amazing. Ignore them, they'll go away, kind of a thing. And then, you move on to the next part of your journey on that kind of introspection to becoming, that's kind of probably moving into the, the Buddha territory, the Bodhisattva, the possibly ascended master, all that kind of thing. So this kind of inner journey. So that's the 4 models of magic I want to talk about. So we have the energy model, which is probably best described as, or best known kind of as Reiki or energy healing, or pushing your power into things, or using the vril, using the etheric, using chi, using the life force, that kind of thing. Very new agey, but has a long history, obviously, of use. The second one then is the spiritual model, which would encompass things like animism, the saints, demons, angels, working at anything with the spirits, intercessionary magic to get the spirits to do stuff for you. The third then is the psychological model, which is it's all in your head, and if you change your inner world, that will be reflected on the outer world. This is probably one that has the most evidence backing it up. And you could totally work in a psychological model of magic without any supernatural woo-woo stuff at all. But it also, people do encompass in that. So the scientific stuff is more, the scientific evidence is more in the non-woo-woo stuff, as is its want. And then the final one is the kind of meditative or contemplation model, where you journey to your inner world and develop, as a byproduct, as a kind of a hassle along the way, these magical powers to get more of what you want and less what you don't want, but in that you're told to ignore them. So that's it for this video. I hope that was helpful, and there will be another video on magic in the next one, which is just talking a bit more probably about chaos magic, because that's where the 47s fit in probably the best, and just the different kind of elements of chaos magic, and then we will start getting into the 47s proper. So good people of the internet, be well.